Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames, and today we are playing some Mono Blue Terror. So this is a deck that I have been enjoying quite a bit recently. It's one that I have been wanting to practice a little bit more because it's obviously there's just not enough people playing the deck in the format. No, it's one of the most popular decks in Pauper, and for good reason. It's very strong. It's really fun to play. I even think it's fun to play against. And as many people as there are who play the deck, and there are lots of challenge wins and good ratings there, and 5-0s, trophies, and things like that, I don't necessarily think there are that many people in the content creator space who are actually making videos on Terror. So I do my best to make a video of it every once in a while, and so I figured I'd take it for a couple leagues today. So you should probably be familiar with this deck if you've played any amount of Pauper at all, but basically we're going to be using our cantrips and our counter spells to fill the graveyard to make it so that our Cryptic Serpents and our Tellurian Terrors cost very cheap, 1 or 2 mana to play. And of course Delver of Secrets is our other creature, our other win con, which will transform into a 3/2 flyer, which could be pretty aggressive, especially because it can transform on turn 2 if we see any spell off the top of our deck. Then we just have these cantrips as mentioned. Brainstorm can put cards from your hand on top of your deck, and then ideally you can mill them with your mental notes or your thought scours. You could even shuffle them away with a Ponder or a Lorien Revealed. Lorien can draw cards, a couple Deep Analysis. This is a slot, kind of a flex slot that some people don't play the Deep Analysis, some people do. I like it pretty well, but that's not to say that it's the only way to play it or that I won't be satisfied playing something else in this slot at some point. Of course, we play Counterspell. Demon Inferior as a couple removal spells can be pretty nice. Sleep of the Dead is, I think, the best card in this entire deck. It looks so mundane, but because you just tap a creature, it doesn't untap for 1 mana, but you can escape it for 3 mana, exiling 3 cards from your graveyard, which is really easy to do multiple times. It could just make it very impossible for your opponent to block or even just race you. And we're playing Force Spike in here. Some decks don't play Force Spike, some play Spell Pierces and Dispels instead of here. I think it really depends on the current meta, just how the Force Spike feels. It kind of ebbs and flows, because if people know you're on Force Spike, it's a little bit worse because they'll just play off curve a little bit, but then they're not getting counterspelled. But I'm not usually the biggest fan of Force Spike, I will say, but I was playing it to test it out a couple times yesterday, and it felt really good. I got a lot of value out of it. Even just hitting Wellsprings and things like that is pretty strong. But of course, I was able to hit like a Chrysalis and some bigger creatures, and it's just really good when you can do that. So we're going to be playing 4 of them, seeing how those go. And then in our sideboard, we have, of course, Blue Elemental Blast. We have 4 of those, plus 2 Hydroblasts, so 6 anti-red cards. We have our and we have an Envelop, which can counter a sorcery spell. This is another good anti-red card because you can counter Grab the Prize and the robbery one, Highway Robbery. But it can also counter Dread Return or Lead the Stampede or a lot of other cards that are pretty relevant in the format. And then we have Steel Sabotage. You could definitely play a Null in this spot. A Null is going to be a little bit more well-rounded against everybody. It can be good against Bogles, and it can get Nyxborn Hydras and things like that. Whereas Steel Sabotage is going to be even better than just a Null against an Artifact opponent. I like the Steel Sabotage because it can just single-handedly win games against Affinity or Jund or something. I literally played against Jund yesterday, where I bounced 3 of their lands in 1 turn. Or actually, they had a Pyroblast, so I tried to bounce 3 of their lands. I only ended up bouncing 2 of them, but they only had 2 non-black lands, so I could bounce both of them, and they were bridges, so they entered tapped, and it was just extremely strong to do so. And then we're also playing Piracy Charm. I think having some way to kill 1 toughness creatures is really important against elves, good against fairies, things like that. Gutshot is a card that people play a lot. Piracy Charm is interesting. Gutshot's obviously free, but Piracy Charm has a little more utility. It gives +2, -1 for 1 mana. So this can actually pump your own creature to deal an extra couple damage, which can be pretty nice. It can give Island Walk if that is relevant. Not usually going to come up, but maybe if we bring it in against fairies, and then instead of wanting to kill one of their guys, just want to make unblockable, that's pretty good. And also it can make target opponent discard a card, which if they maybe are top decking, you can get their card in their draw step, and can just be a way to use it early to get it into your graveyard. So it can be pretty sweet there. So that's the deck. We are going to take it for a league and see how we do. In that case, can you side out the spikes in game 2 so they're playing off curve against cards that aren't even in your deck anymore? Absolutely. That is a great way to utilize the Force Spikes, is if you get them really good with it game 1, they're going to play around it a lot. So you want to still leave up your 1 mana in cases where you don't even have it, so that yes, they have to fear the Force Spike. I will say, as someone who plays against Force Spike often, I usually, even if I have seen it in their deck, I usually try it. There are times where you don't want to play around it. You just want to make them have it. So obviously you'll get got sometimes when that happens. If they jam into a Force Spike and you don't cast it, then they're going to know you don't have it in your hand, because it's almost always likely that you'd want to cast it if you could get any value off of it. But yeah, certainly making sure that your opponent's playing around cards that don't even exist anymore in your deck is a great way to get even more value than your deck can even allow. So that's really sweet. You can now pick up my comprehensive guide to Esper Cryo Affinity, including 38 sideboard matchups, and I just put out a big update for my Black Sack guide, including a slightly different deck list. I began offering coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your Pauper game to the next level, and I'm accepting deck donations, so if you desperately want me to play a deck that I usually wouldn't play, something like Elves, or maybe you want me to suffer through High Tide, then you can make me do that for a small fee. I've started posting a League video every single day, not to mention streaming at least a couple times a week on Twitch, but I'm not going to be able to keep that up forever unless I can get a little bit more help from the community. Any of the ways I've just mentioned are great ways to help me out, or you can even subscribe and support me on a monthly basis. All right, here we are, round 1, and this is not the best hand ever, for sure. We have no turn 1 play, but we have, we can cycle a Lorien, then we have double Counterspell, which is okay. Ooh, nice deck. Yeah. Yes, Illuminati, I'm sure you're a fan. Well, as the expert, in the play, this could... not in the draw. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I was just going to ask. Yeah, since we can hold up a counterspell on their turn 2, and then the second turn it's decent. Okay, we'll keep it then for that reason. That makes sense to me. Just probably cycle the Lorien turn 1 so that we can not trip over it later. We're definitely going to want a 3rd land. There could be a reason that, like, if we draw 3 lands in a row here, maybe we'll regret this, but I think more than likely we'll want to just use it. I guess also if we get a Brainstorm, that would be a reason to maybe keep in hand. But they Brainstorm. Snow-Covered Island and a Brainstorm makes me think this is High Tide, which could be a pain. Oh, okay. Cycle and Ash Barrens in their upkeep. That makes me think it's probably Familiars then. Snow-Covered Plains. All right. Don't have to play against High Tide. Oh, or Tireless Tribe. Okay, well that's also an option. Certainly going to counter the Tribe. There's only 4 in the deck, and it's the main card that they are trying to win with. So between Thoughtscour and Counterspell here, we could probably get out of Terror next turn. Would mill now on our own turn. Ponder, I think, is fine. You would mill on our own turn. I thought about that. The reason I didn't was because I figured I want to hold up Counterspell anyway, and I'm not probably going to be playing a Terror or a Serpent then. So I wasn't sure what the benefit would be. Ooh, okay, we just get to get another Tribe here. I mean, obviously we'd see what we draw, but it felt like we were probably holding up Counterspell either way, but I'm definitely interested to know. We hit 2 spells there, so now I can just slam 2 Terrors and a Deep Analysis, or not a Deep Analysis, a Delver of Secrets. That seems pretty decent. I could also just play a Serpent, but I feel like getting the Delver down is pretty good. Easy, yeah. Definitely a little easy when they just jam their Tribes right into our counterspells, and then we get a million creatures to play. I suppose theoretically, if they find another Tribe, have the combo and the unblockable, and we don't get a counterspell or a tap spell, it could be rough, but Squadron Hawk looks like it's going to be pretty decent for us. Preordain. We don't flip a Delver because we have another Terror on top. Okay. I don't see any reason to just play out more... Well, actually, I guess they have chump blockers. Don't attack with a Delver. Yeah, I guess they can play 2 Hawks. So if I play Terror and Serpent, they can still survive, but if I get like a sleep next turn, yeah, I guess I could Deep Analysis. Theoretically, I could draw like an island and a counter spell, which would be good if they have a Tribe, but even if they play Tribe here and Squadron Hawk, they're gonna have to double chump, so they'd have to have like another Plains, Tribe, Hawk to survive, and then the perfect cards to win their following turn, which seems pretty tough. They Ponder, then Brainstorm, play a Hawk, so they're gonna pull out a couple more of these. They need another creature to block, though. Otherwise, this is just lethal. Unless there's, like, an Unsummon or something I'm not thinking of in the deck. Prismatic Strands that they're going to discard. Sure. That makes sense. So I guess Counterspell would be good. They Prismatic Strands in response here. Okay. I forgot about the Prismatic. I don't play against this one a lot. Deep Analysis off the top. Sure, we'll reveal that. I will Deep Analysis to draw, try to find more counter spells or something. I guess we'll just Brainstorm. Maybe we can hit a land. We can hold up a Force Spike, and we get a counter spell. That's pretty good. So I'll put back Deep Analysis Terror, or serpent. No reason to attack. I guess I should check this, but I'm going to assume they chose the right color of blue. I could force spike the brainstorm. It's a little bit of value, but I think it's probably fine to hold it for something a little more relevant. They ponder. Like now if they play Squadron Hawk, Prismatic, I could force spike the Prismatic. Maybe with BCS of the birds combo. Maybe worth because of the birds combo. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, the combo with the hawk, with the brainstorm. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I just feel like if all they're doing is drawing cards, it's maybe fine to just let that go. I don't know. Also, if they like tap out here, I mean, we already are going to have a counter spell on our upkeep, but if they tap out here playing hawks and discard another prismatic, then force spike would get them. They have block, so they're not technically dead. They discard a deep analysis. We will just swing with the team. They're going to take 13, and I'll just play a Delver so I can hold up force spike and counterspell. They impulse. We'll force spike that. That seems like pretty good value. They inside out to draw a card. I will allow that. Play a tunnel. So they could have prismatic here, but they don't have the ability to flash it back. We have the counterspell, so I believe this should be good enough. All right, took down first game here. So let's see. Steel Sabotage is not going to have any use. Piracy Charm. I mean, Piracy Charm can kill the tribe after they've inverted its power and toughness. Can also give Island Walk. Can make them discard a card. All of that's kind of relevant. Envelop hits cantrips. I don't think that's good enough. And then the Hydroblasts and Blue Blasts can hit inside out, which is pretty relevant. I think Sleep the Dead seems really good to keep their guy not being able to attack us, not to mention getting rid of blockers. It feels like Force Spike probably isn't the most relevant here, especially since they know about it now. Deep Analysis doesn't seem super necessary either, so I could do like 4 Piracy Charms and a couple Hydroblasts. I mean, Hydra's only good against Inside Out, but that is a pretty key card to counter. But obviously if they have like a backup counterspell for it, might not be super relevant, but I think something like that might be reasonable. Let's try it out. Delvers and Analysis are not the best. Hydro and Charm. You'd cut Delvers here. I kind of assumed you'd never cut Delvers just because you don't have very many threats, but I guess if we're kind of playing control here, maybe you don't need the Delver as much. Side out the Delver a lot. Oh, okay. That's good to know. What are you generally looking for, or what types of decks do you side it out against? Oh, versus John Affinity Burn. John Affinity Burn, anything that it dies to removal easily. Is that the idea? Well, they have the tribe. Gonna mental note here. I can't kill it, obviously, because they can just grow it. Not until they try to invert it because of Chrysalis, Flyers specifically. Gotcha, yeah. So Refurb and Chrysalis and Snackers. Okay, sure, yeah. That makes sense. So here I could play a Delver, but I'd probably rather just hold up. Let's see. I mean, could they combo here? If they draw a card, they inside out. That's 5 cards. They could have lethal, so they might go for it. And if they do, I can just win with a Charm killing this. It's also just safest to hold up a counter spell. Worst case, I could just like double Thought Scour ourselves. They brainstorm. Cyclone Ash Barrens for an island. And they get in for 1. Thought Scour. Thought Scour. We hit Demon Inferior, Island, Terror. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's enough to play a Terror. Play a Delver here and then hold up these. Here they can trade birds for Delver, so it's not the best. And we win with the Serpents anyway versus combos. Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. Definitely a good reason to get rid of the Delver then. They'll attack. I'll take it. They're going to go for the combo, but they have to discard their entire hand. I guess if they have the one that whiteout, whiteout I think, that lets them sack lands, then they could keep a counter spell in hand, but we have double Piracy Charm to kill the tribe through that, even if they can keep a counter spell, like Circular Logic. So I'm going to grow their tribe, but shrink its toughness. Unless this doesn't work the way I think it does. It should work, right? Okay. I was like, maybe it gets inverted too, but that would be weird. All right, well, we won against Tribe. So I definitely feel like this is a keep. I guess the question is, on the draw, do I just Delver or do I hold up a Force Spike for like a grab the prize? Feels like Delver's not going to be that relevant here because it could just get bolted that I think I want to hold up a Force Spike. Yeah, hold for sure. That was my thought. Epicure, they pass. And now, yeah, hold up another counterspell as well as double Force Spike. And the next turn I can Delver. Still hold this stuff up, I suppose. Snacker, discarded with the blood. So they can bring it back without triggering counter spells. That's kind of annoying. Another Force Spike. Sneaky's so good here. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. The fact that, like, I certainly would have countered an Epic here with a Force Spike if we could, but since we couldn't do that, then they get it through without using any spells. Really, really strong. I feel like I just trade off because I'm just taking too much damage. If this flips, I guess I can block these better, but they also just have a Lava Dart to kill this. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. And yeah, if they just don't cast anything, we're not in a great spot here. I think we're gonna Brainstorm. Try to hit our land drop. Well, Deep Analysis sucks. I can Demon Fury the Snacker. That's not bad. And I don't think we need all of these Force Spikes. Cycle Lorien. I guess if I Demon Fury, I'm only holding up a Force Spike, which is not the best. Are you playing Demon Fury? Maybe not. Am I just holding up Counterspell? I just figured since I had made it 1 mana and I could stop the Snacker from attacking, but I guess if they play a land, play a Gutter Snipe, and all I have up is a Force Spike, it's kind of bad. It feels like I'm dying to these guys is my issue without doing the Demon Fury. And if I deem it, then ideally I can counter any draw spells they have to get it back. But I guess maybe not. So if I take this, I take 3 here. That kind of means they might not have another way to discard. I don't know. I'm going to Force Spike this. It feels like we got to get some value off of it. The fact that I'm not holding up Counterspell now is maybe bad. But that's also a bit of an indication they don't have any way to discard, which might mean they just have like more Tempers in hand. They also didn't play a land last turn. So that means they have all gas. Alright, there's a Gutter Snipe. That's a good Force Spike. Well, that worked pretty well. 1, 2, 3, 4... Cycle Lorien, so that's 5. So I can play Serpent, hold up Counterspell. I could play the Terror, but it can get cheaper later. This deals more damage, and it feels like if they're not going to throw 2 bolts at this to kill it anyway. Would have Deems there. We are too far back. Feels like we need to take some risk. Well, this is not great. Why would they Gutter Snipe after you show them Force Spike? That was crazy. I couldn't possibly have had a second Force Spike, right? Also, Deem is too expensive now. Color shifted Unexpected Fangs when? Into blue? I don't think ever. Into white, maybe eventually. Yeah, like I said, I was thinking about doing the Deem there. It ended up working pretty well with the double Force Spike, but definitely the Snacker is a bit problematic. It's not too expensive now. I mean, it's 3 mana, but I can do 3 mana and still, like, Terror or hold up a Counterspell, so I feel like it might be fine. If I Retemper us, this puts us to 6, and then Snacker to 4. I think I'm going to just Counterspell. We're pretty close to dying, but it's possible through Demon Inferior, playing a Terror, and just like slamming over the next couple turns, we can beat the race. Assuming they have not a lot in hand. If they have a bunch of bolts and a Fire Blast, we will certainly be dying. And they do bolt us. They have a Lava Dart in the grave, and they probably just have a Fire Blast here. Alright, well, we were definitely in a tough spot there. I can bring in 4 Blue Blasts, 2 Hydros, Envelop is pretty decent. Deep Analysis loses its life, so that's not very good. Illuminati's Suggestion, I'm going to cut the Delvers. And Demon Fury doesn't feel very good here. I guess it can get rid of like a Gutter Snipe or something, and then we can Thought Scour it away, but it does feel expensive. And the Sleeps. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I guess Deem is probably better than that. So like bring in a Piracy Charm maybe. It can kill some stuff. It can make him discard, which could be relevant. It's not the best thing ever, but if you're thinking Deem is good, yeah, I was thinking about that. Actual Illuminati? Yeah. They're giving some nice pointers here. Sure, we'll try that. Sleep's better than Charm too. Yeah, that was a thought I had. I wasn't exactly sure which was better there. Alright, we have some decent counter spells. Brainstorm Mental Note is nice. They don't do anything. I guess if I Brainstorm, I'm going to hold up Counterspell, so I'm not going to Mental Note it, so it's kind of a waste of a Brainstorm a little bit. We can just wait. Hard to say all by chat. Sorry. No, you're fine. I mean, you are under no obligation to tell me how to play right. I'm just trying to learn best I can. They're going to, yeah, plot a robbery. Okay. Hello, cat. We're going to Brainstorm Mental Note here. Ooh, we get a Terror. I don't want to get rid of any counter spells, I don't think. And I don't want to get rid of the Terror, so I don't really want to get rid of the island, which I guess just means putting both of these back and binning them both. It's probably fine. I mean, we lose a lot of our card selection, but now I just have like a wall of counter spells and then a Terror to finish them off. Seems decent. 2 Millers on top and wait. So not milling them, you're saying? Because I guess they're good reasonable cards to draw. There's not really a reason I need to send it off there. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. One thing that I always have with my gameplay that I'm always trying to fight is the need to do everything right away. So I'm like, oh, well, if I fill the graveyard here with all of these, then I can get a Terror down real quick. But I guess I don't need to get a Terror down super quick if I'm just countering everything. it's better if we have Brainstorm here. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I feel like I still just want to fight over this. It'll let us have Terror next turn for 1 mana. Runs Progenitus too. Sure. Yeah, if they Progenitus here, I guess that's bad for us. Although no land, no other thing to cast is pretty good for us. Island's a good draw too. So even if they have another Pyroblast, I can Hydro it and hold up a counterspell. I think a Bolt is fine. We're mostly only scared of draw spells such as that. I guess Counterspell is just more expensive. Hydro hits everything anyway, so let's just use that. Draw spells, pingers, and Pyroblasts are really the only things we're worried about. Ponder, more counterspells would be great. Yeah, that's fantastic. So I could play a Serpent this turn and have 1 Hydroblast up. Seeing as they only have 2 mana, I kind of like that. Otherwise, I could just have 2 Red Blasts and 1 Terror, but this quickens the clock. And they were desperate enough to run a Grab the Prize into a counterspell before. Feels like that means they're pretty desperate. If they now have a mountain, you know, if they baited us there and they have a Mountain Pyroblast, it's still not the end of the world. We have on a 3-turn clock. 11. If we had a second Piracy Charm, we could have done lethal there. We're gonna... I guess I don't care about this at this point. These are both lethal, and this doesn't stop us. So I guess this one I probably just let go. But I'm not really seeing a way they get out of this. I guess if they get, like... They discard a Lava Dart... They have a Fire Blast, so they use both of those on the Serpent. They lose all their lands, and then they Epic Cure with the last red mana. Like, Game 3, need to keep a hand with 1 mana counter for the grabs. Yep, that makes sense. Oh, I only had 1 Piracy Charm, right. So you said a Sleep is better than a Piracy Charm. That makes sense. Is Charm good in this matchup? Not really. I brought it in because I was cutting both of the sleeps, but the expert says a 1-of Sleep is better, so I think we'll just try that. Well, we have the Force Spike for the Grab the Prize. Thought Scours and a Lorien. Seems good. They mulligan to 6. Start with a Relic. Okay. It's a little annoying, but not the end of the world. We get another land, essentially. They're just going to pass. I mean, this gets eaten by the Relic, but we obviously got to hit our land drops. Games with turn 1 Relic are interesting. Yeah, especially if we've pulled out Delvers. It's like definitely going to be a long one, right? They're just passing. So to me, it feels like Brainstorm, Thought Scour, and then like they're going to have to use the Relic, like pop it at some point. But I guess I could also just see Lorien revealed and like saving all the cards in our hand to overwhelm even later in the game. Usually accumulate the Millers. Sure, let's try that then. I could still Brainstorm, although I like a lot of the cards in my hand. I mean, Force Spike isn't at its best, but I guess if we're going to save these for later, sure. I'll just cycle a Lorien here. Hit our land drop. Counterspell's a good draw. We can chain Scour if you use on Lorien. Yeah, I gotcha. They're missing a land drop. We'll just pass. So I'm going to have to discard here, so I might as well Brainstorm, try to hit a land drop. We don't hit a land drop. So we do get a Hydroblast, though. So I think I'm going to put back... We have 4 Millers. I guess keeping all of these is probably good against this. I definitely want to get rid of a Force Spike. I guess we have 2 counterspells. I could get rid of the other Force Spike. I think that's probably fine. And then I guess if I cast this and I don't hit a land, all I have is a Hydro, but I'm gonna have to discard. I think I'm gonna mental note. We fill our graveyard, kind of force them to... we don't force them to pop it right now, but like we're getting up there, and ideally we hit an island. All right, there we go. Beautiful. So like they can eat 1 more of these, but then we're at 2 spells, so 1 Thought Scour could potentially get us close to a Terror or a Serpent. Nice. Yeah, it was a good draw for us. And they hit their land drop this time. Just passing. So here, my inclination is to maybe do like a Brainstorm Thought Scour, force the Relic to be popped, or I could just Thought Scour blindly, which I think actually is not... Yeah, I think actually I'd probably prefer that. We have so many. If we're lucky enough to hit 2 more spells, I can play a Serpent. But if I don't have another land, I guess I can't Hydro and Counterspell to keep it up. Mill some to force. Yeah, that was the thought. We get a Force Spike. We mill an island, so no Serpent while holding up Counterspell, unless I want to play an island here. Obviously they're gonna pop it, so it doesn't matter. All right, island is a good draw, so now I can just start building the graveyard again. I mean, I feel like we're in a good spot. We're both still at 20 life. They haven't done anything relevant, so I'll Brainstorm. We get a Terror, another Thought Scour. I feel like Force Spike just is, like, we could maybe get some value out of it, but it feels like it's already just expended its worth, so I think we just do that. Thought Scour, Blue Blast. I mean, we're drawing really hot. 4 spells in the grave, so I could just Brainstorm Thought Scour to fill the grave, and then we put down a Terror and a Serpent. If I draw a land, I can even hold up 2 Red Blasts. That feels pretty good. No land. We hit another 2 of these, though. At this point now, I'm just happy to get rid of the Counterspell, because these are all just cheaper versions, and Ponder. I mean, I guess I don't even need to Thought Scour here. I could just Ponder. but that makes it harder to cast these. Let's just go for a Thought Scour. If I hit an island, perfect. Probably has some Pyroblasts. Yeah, exactly. But I now have 4 of these, so I could just play 1 Serpent and hold up 4 Hydroblasts. That might be overkill. Like, I could maybe also get down a Terror, but I think we'll just do this and see. They might let this go because it doesn't have Ward. Okay. Yeah, so I think I could hold up all 4 of these, but I think I'm going to Terror. If they want to fight over this, now I can. I'll fight 1 or 2 only. Yeah. Definitely still want to hold up a little bit for what they're going to do. Cast another. So if I counter this, I'm holding up only 1 of these. I think I'm going to do 1 more. I kind of just like having them on a 2-turn clock, potentially. If they go for a 3rd Pyro, I'll let it go. Play a Mountain, Gutter Snipe. I think that's the one to counter. Flusterstorm, common when? If we're lucky, never. That one might be a little over the line. Oh, and they don't have another Pyro. They don't have anything. Envelop. All right, feels pretty good. I'll just send this out, and now we have counter for Grab the Prize, 1 more Hydroblast. And we can even just let the first creature they try to kill die because I already have lethal. Unban Daze. No. Not that either. I like to have fun, but Daze is way over the line. You know, I know Mono Blue Terror is so, such a bad deck right now that we definitely need to bump it up, but I think Daze might be too much. Well, they didn't have a Fire or Pyroblast before. I can't imagine they could deal 17 damage with 3 cards. So the only way they could survive here is like a couple Epicures or Pingers or something to block. Yeah, all right, we win the match. Oh, they showed their hand. It was a Fire Blast, a Lava Dart, and I missed the last one, but not gonna be enough. GG's. Yeah, thanks for the help. Appreciate it. That last game seemed really easy, but I do think we drew very well, and they did not have a lot to do early. To be fair, we had the 4 spikes on turn 2, but if they'd gone for like a Grab the Prize on turn 3, I guess we had Counterspell up at that point, but I had to go for a few minutes, and all right, no problem. Thanks for hanging out. All right, round 3 here. We're on the play. We don't have any disruption, but we can fill the grave pretty quickly with a couple of these. Also, I'd love to find a Brainstorm to be able to bin the Deep Analysis. Island Mirror Match. Just gonna send one of these off. Island Ponder. There's a Brainstorm. So with Brainstorm, Thought Scour, 4 spells, we can put 6 spells on the grave. They cycle an island, so it is a mirror match. All right, Brainstorm, put back an island, or a Deep Analysis, and might as well just do a Lorien, because we're going to cycle one of them anyway. If I Thought Scour here, they could have a 4 spike for it, which would mean we'd be stuck drawing those cards. That'd be kind of annoying. So I think I'm going to go to my upkeep, and then I'll Thought Scour. They have a Spell Pierce. Well, that is unfortunate, because we played around the wrong one. I could still, cycle a Lorien here. It's either that or I'm drawing a Lorien. Yeah, it's a bummer, because now I can't play a Terror at all, whereas I could if I had gone for the Thought Scour on their end step. This 4 spike has me second-guessing everything. They don't flip the Delver, so that's something. Play another one. No land drop. Okay, and a Terror. Well, now we think they don't have a 4 spike, so I think I should just be able to resolve 2 of these guys. I maybe should just gone with 2 Terrors, actually, because they kill just as fast, and then I can't get Sleep of the Dead or Deem Inferiored very easily. They whiff on the Delvers again, but they do find a land, so that was their top deck. Last turn they whiffed and they didn't play a land, so that means they have 1 Serpent in hand, or I guess it could have been the other Delver that they drew. That's a possibility as well. Into the Royal. I mean, I wasn't expecting that, but that's, could have been a Boomerang, could have been anything, and that's another reason I should have played the other Terror, not the Serpent. However, this time I think I'm playing... I'm going to have to play 1 Serpent anyway. I still only have 5 spells, so I can't play all of them. So I'm going to have to play 1 Serpent anyway. But I guess if they top deck a land and have a Sleep of the Dead, yeah, I guess it's probably just better to have the Ward creature down. The extra mana is going to be pretty irrelevant this next turn, I think. They do finally flip them on a Mental Note. Mental Note... Mills, Mental Note, and an island. Play a Serpent. So they're going to trade. Double block, probably. Take 5. Sleep of the Dead would be incredible here. 4 spikes, okay. I mean, any way you slice it, we come out on top with at least one of these guys alive, and then we get to play another one, so present lethal next turn. Yeah, that's what I figured. I can't say this 4 spike's going to probably be very effective, but then again, they are pinched on mana. If they try to play 2 Terrors here and I can 4 spike one of them, that'd be pretty good. Thought Scour away. Dispel into Dragon Wings. Alright, actually we get to 4 spike the Cryptic Serpent. And that's going to be one I'll take a picture of. Alright, so against the mirror, Envelop hits, Deep Analysis, Deem Inferior, and Ponder and Sleep. Not quite enough for it to be worth it, I don't think. Piracy Charm can kill a Delver before it's flipped. Unblockable actually is kind of decent, though. Island Walk. Obviously none of the rest of these do anything, so Piracy Charm's the only one I might want to switch in. Nothing in our deck is bad though. Sleep helps us race. Deep Analysis is card draw. Demon Inferior, Force Spike's good. Yeah. I guess on the draw, this is an answer to a turn 1 Delver. They play a Delver and I can just kill it right away, whereas I don't have another answer except for like a Demon Inferior to a Delver, or obviously our own Delver, because I can't Force Spike it on turn 1. Yeah, I don't know. Discard's not bad if we can, like, if they only have a card and I can use it to bait a counterspell or like force the counterspell. Otherwise the discard's kind of bad, I guess, because it fuels these guys. And +2 can make our Delver trade for a Serpent. That's something. I think I'm gonna try. I guess Force Spike is better on the draw, isn't it? Would you ever cut 1 land on the draw? I can't, like, I'm not necessarily an expert with the deck, so there might be better players than me that would say yes. To me, that doesn't seem great. I know it's on the draw, so you have more likely to hit it and everything, but you still, like, we already play a very low number of lands. So that doesn't feel great to me, but I could be wrong. All right, I'm thinking no to the Piracy Charm. I don't think we should switch anything. Yeah, especially because I think this is a matchup that could very well be a bit of a standoff, where you kind of just want to play lands. Like, if you don't have the most aggressive hand on the play and you don't want to run into counter spells, you might keep a hand. This one's okay. It's not amazing. You might keep a hand that just plays land, and if we can't keep up with the lands, then we're going to eventually fall behind. So I don't know. They have a Murmuring Mystic. I don't know if that's sideboard card or main deck, but either way, that is a scary one. They give us a little frowny face. And, I mean, they open... I mean, we knew they had Spell Pierce, so they didn't have a way to get rid of a Delver here anyway. But if we could just flip a Delver, that'd be pretty nice here. Lorien revealed, for sure. All right. I mean, seeing as we know they have Into the Royal, so that's an option for them to get rid of the Aberration. They could certainly have Demon Inferiors, Sleep the Dead, but feeling pretty good with our 3/2 flyer. They Brainstorm and cycle a Lorien. They're going to pass. I think I'm just going to pass. Chances are I probably want to cycle this Lorien, but theoretically if I draw a bunch of lands, maybe I want to keep it. Brainstorm Thought Scour is good, but I didn't want to get the Thought Scour Spell Pierced because it's like our only way to fill the graveyard right now. Now it feels okay to like Brainstorm Thought Scour. Let's wait until we can play them both around a Spell Pierce. Plus we're just winning the game right now. They have to do something, but I don't want to do nothing to the point where when they maybe land a couple terrors, I can't also land a couple terrors. Counterspell's a great draw. They're gonna play a 4-mana Serpent. I mean, that feels like something I'd want to counterspell. They might have a Dispel for it, but Spell Pierce doesn't work. I guess they could Spell Pierce one of these, but now is the time if they don't that I could just like land a bunch of terrors and be in a really good spot. So we'll go for it because this is 1, 2, 3, 4 spells. If I can find 2 spells here to mill, okay, they do Spell Pierce. Honestly, if I just get lucky with the Thought Scour, which I had to get lucky with the Brainstorm anyway, so it's about the same. I mill a Sleep of the Dead and a Force Spike. That's pretty lucky. So I could just play 3 terrors. So now they have to have a lot of ways to counter these or something. Yeah, all right. That one felt pretty good. Also, in case anyone wasn't here the other day when I was mentioning it, we have some emotes for the channel now. None of them for Blue Terror, unfortunately, but we have a bunch for Black Sack and Esper Affinity that are all pretty sweet. A couple of them are for people with subscriptions, but a couple of them, 3 of them can be used for anybody. So, you know, have fun with that. We're going up against Coco Loco for round 4 here. All right, we're on the draw, but we have the Force Spike and the Delver. Pretty decent. I mean, we're a little flooded, but we can probably keep one of these Loriens to potentially redraw later. Another mirror match, okay. Well, I don't think Force Spike's going to get much value then, because they might not cast anything. If anything, they're going to cast a bunch of 1-drops, so I think I'm just going to Delver back to hopefully have dueling Delvers. Ooh, and we know about the Force Spike, so that's good. Let's hope we get as lucky as them. Brainstorm, alright, that works. So, I could hold back to try to trade, seeing as they are the ones on the play. That feels like if they then just have like a Sleep of the Dead or something, I'm wasting damage and it's just not very good. So I might have to in a couple turns, but I think we're going to see how the game unfolds first. Here I'm going to Brainstorm and then probably cycle a Lorien. They just want to counter that. Okay, fair enough. Now we get a counter spell. If they cast anything at the end step here, I'll probably Force Spike it to get some value. Yeah, including a mental note, just to make sure terrors are not going to be coming down. They do have the Sleep of the Dead. I don't think countering it does me very much good. I'm going to cycle a Lorien here because it makes the next terror cheaper, and I'm probably gonna have to cycle one of these anyway. I mean, I can't even Lorien on 5 with this Force Spike. Yeah, so I could Serpent, but that gets countered by a Force Spike, so I'm obviously not doing that this turn. I'm probably gonna have to cycle the Lorien, play the Serpent, For 3, hold up Counterspell. Hopefully that works. The chances of a Lorien revealed resolving here are pretty low anyway, so I think it's important to force the Serpent through, even though we are getting massively flooded. I guess if they have a Counterspell and then I counter back, they have the Force Spike we know about, so that's pretty bad. But I guess I could wait a turn. Yeah, maybe I should. I guess we'll hold this back. If they go for the Sleep of the Dead, I could counter it so that they can't attack with the Aberration. Brainstorm first. Play an island. Deem Inferior. I could counterspell, but they have the Force Spike. Just getting absolutely boned by this Force Spike. I guess we'll put that on the bottom. We need to find our own Deem Inferior, Sleep of the Dead, and they have another Delver. Alright. It just doesn't do me any good to like run it out into the Force Spike. I'd rather have it for like a Sleep of the Dead or something later. But if we draw nothing and they flip a Delver, we're going to lose. Let's go for a Thought Scour. Let's go for a Brainstorm. So we can play a Cryptic Serpent, but if they flip this, we die. So I could put these 2 back. I could Thought Scour, and if I find a Sleep of the Dead, maybe I can survive. But then all I have is counter spells. So I could put these 2 back. Sleep of the Dead or Demon Inferior. Yeah, I think that's what we do. I didn't put the Delver on top. Oh, we actually maybe survive here. I didn't put the Delver of Secrets on top before because it didn't feel like it was going to be able to flip in time. It's possible that was wrong, but I can deem this. If they put it on top, and then we're lucky enough that they do put it on top. If the top card here is not a spell, then this doesn't flip, and then it won't flip again the following turn. If it is a spell, we need to find another, like we're in such a bad spot, I think. I think if it's not a spell, we have a shot at winning, but it's a Lorien revealed. Yeah, I guess that can also shuffle away the Delver if they really wanted. But now I need to find Sleep again, or another Demon Inferior. Ponder gives us a chance. Delver, Force Spike Island, these don't do anything. So shuffle, Terror. I can play a Terror and a Serpent, but then we just died to the Delver. Pretty rough. We just sideboarded against them and didn't want to change anything, especially not on the play here, I don't think. Alright, on the play, and double Demon Inferior. We have no way to fill our graveyard, a bunch of expensive cards. This is not going to work. This is fully reliant on the Brainstorm hitting something, but I guess I can wait a few turns to make sure that happens, and then I can counterspell in the meantime. Ugh. If I get any more lands, I'd rather get rid of an island here. Chances we hit a land are pretty high, I think, with the Brainstorm, so I think we're going to do that. I really don't want to get rid of Sleep of the Dead because I think it's so good in the mirror match. As we saw, it kind of wrecked us. Alright, we get our island back. They Brainstorm. They go for a Mental Note. I could counter this. Part of me thinks that might be okay. And they have to draw back what they want to mill. It's probably not right. Thought Scour and a Serpent. I mean, if they're really looking for a land, maybe it's good, but like, I don't know. There's a Serpent. So I'm going to Brainstorm probably at the end step here. Maybe in our upkeep. Or not upkeep, next turn. Cycle a Lorien, so that's 4 spells. There's a Delver. They could Spell Pierce a counterspell, although we saw Force Spike, so they'd have to counterspell this, I think. Brainstorm in response, or maybe Dispel if they have some of those. Brainstorm is 5 spells, so no Terror this turn. We know Force Spike's a possibility, so I guess I'm going to play around it, not Brainstorm here. Ponder. We'll do that first. I don't mind a land. Thought Scour is good with Brainstorm. I guess I could land Brainstorm to get the Delver, play that. Then I also have Thought Scour. Yeah, that seems fun. Brainstorm, double Sleep of the Dead. Sure. Put those on top. I could have Thought Scoured and then Terrored, but that could get Force Spiked, so I'd rather not. I think if they have mana up, which they surely will, I'll probably even Thought Scour in our upkeep to make sure it doesn't, because I really don't want to draw 2 Sleep of the Deads in a row. Sleeps of the Dead. 4 mana for a Mystic? Okay, that's not good. They have a Gut Shot? Okay, come on, dude. Well, I was going to wait until upkeep because I wanted this Delver to flip, but obviously that does not matter now. We're definitely going to Thought Scour. Demon Inferior. I guess I need a Brainstorm to make sure that works then. Well, I could play out both of these. So I could Thought Scour for 1 mana. Ooh, I could just double Terror to make it harder for them to interact. That could be worse because Terrors are 1 mana and then Sleep and Demon are both 3 mana. But Serpent's just so much more susceptible. I think I'm just gonna... No, it's so bad if we can only do 1 spell next turn. Yeah, I'm gonna Serpent and Terror. Alright, we're not in a terrible spot, but Mystic is not great. Jace BG subscribed with Prime for the 2nd month. Thanks for that, Jace. Howdy, Marsh. Happy to catch another stream. Yeah, glad you're able to make it. Appreciate you hopping in. They have a Serpent. Thought Scour. Yeah, this Mystic is just gonna wreck us, I guess. Oh, we had Thought Scour and Demon Inferior, didn't we? I could have gotten rid of the Mystic. That probably should have been the play. Mental Note doesn't work. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because I drew a Terror off of the Scour. We would have had to not play these guys, which would have been unfortunate. But yeah, actually, I think I could have just Demon Inferior, Thought Scour the Mystic. And I think Mystic's going to wreck us because, like, I could attack, trade, or maybe they even just chump. They get us back for way more. I mean, I can still Demon Inferior this now, which is fine. Play a Terror. If I attack and they trade, it's maybe fine. Yeah, I think we attack. I think we Demon Inferior. I guess I can Mental Note first because Demon Inferior gets cheaper for every card we draw. So theoretically, I could find a Thought Scour and still get rid of the Mystic. Yeah, they jump here, take 5 because they'd rather have the fast clock on us. Mental Note hits an island. Demon Inferior could be on the Cryptic, but that doesn't seem to make much sense. Ouch, Murmuring. Yeah, it's pretty rough. I think I just do this because then they can't play it next turn unless they get a land. A way to draw it and a land, and then next turn I can maybe Sleep of the Dead one of these guys and we can bash in. It's not a great spot. I got my Pauper local tonight, but I've been playing nothing but CEDH lately. A little burnt out on the black sack. Crazy, I know, so I'll probably be dusting off Mono Blue Fae. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, I love black sack, but the reason that I play so many different decks is because I get tired of any deck being played over and over and over. So I get that. And Mono Blue Fae is a sweet one too. Okay, so I could take this. We go to 8. I have a Sleep of the Dead. I would need to draw land to double sleep, and I could sleep both of these. Theoretically, that's lethal, but they have counterspell mana up, so I doubt that would actually work. Plus, we would be dead to 2 of these on the Crackback. We know Mystic might be coming next turn. I could block here, and we take 5, and then I tap this down and they have to chump. That seems kind of reasonable. I think we'll do that. Maybe I trade here because this is easier to tap with Sleep of the Dead. Yeah, that might have been better, actually. Delver of Secrets. Well, I can play that. Let's Sleep the Serpent, see if they want to counter this or anything. Getting rid of lands and creatures first. Yep, they do counterspell. Don't have a land to do it again. So if I attack in, we're trading here. Trade Tolarian is better than the other. Yeah. I realized that after. Sometimes I worry about the extra point of damage, especially with like a bird floating around being relevant. But yes, definitely getting rid of the ward would have been more important, I think. So they're gonna trade here, or here probably. Take 6. Maybe they just chump. Yeah, I think we attack. Maybe it would be better because I could just because I can't double sleep now, which is really annoying because I made that mistake. If they just play Mystic and don't have a land, well, they shouldn't have a land because they're drawing Mystic this turn. If they just play Mystic, then I can tap this down and get in for maybe 9 if I'm lucky. I own a few decks in paper, Fae and Black Sack being my 2 favorites. I also play Grixis Affinity and Golgari Gardens sometimes, but they're not really my style. To be honest, I've been jamming just the Black Sack for the last 6 months or so. I understand that. They mill themselves, don't hit anything super relevant, and they swing. Yeah, Grixis Affinity and Gardens are both in my... are they going to Sleep with the Dead? Yes, they are. Yeah, Gardens and Affinity Grixis Affinity are both in my second tier of decks that I like to play. That's a really annoying draw because it doesn't flip a Delver, and if I want to play it, I can't Sleep the Terror because I made that mistake. Yikes. Yeah, so if I tap this, I get in for 1 either way. If I don't tap this, I'm taking damage. I could play a Terror. If I hit them for 1, actually, I'm attacking with Delver regardless. So I put them to 12. I have lethal on board, so they're gonna be forced to tap one of these. Yeah, I think it's better to just cast the Terror, but it would be nice if I could do both. It's fine, we have more Serpents. Yeah, that is true. More Serpents does feel good here. Anyway, yeah, my favorite decks to play, Black Sack, Esper Affinity, Dimir Fairies, and Jund Wildfire, probably my big 4. And then Grixis Affinity, Gardens are kind of in that second tier. I'm trying to make Blue Terror kind of be in the first tier for me, but I definitely get them not being your style as much. So if I take this, then I die to another hit from a Terror. I could try to tap the Terror, but they probably have a counterspell. We know they have a Mystic, but they have 2 unknowns. If I take it, then we're already presenting lethal. So we try to tap the Delver. They have to counterspell, and we attack. They have to chump, but then we're dead to a Terror. I think I want to trade. If they only have 1 counterspell, we top deck an island, and I can double Sleep the Delver. That's a pretty good way to win. But if they could have 2 counterspells. Yeah, I think we're gonna trade. Yes, but you're more of a mid-range enjoyer. I'm more an aggro these days. Mid-range was my jam like 10 years ago. So, but my brain is too smooth for thinking, so I make my opponents do the math. Oh, yeah, I gotcha. Second from the top. I would trade because it's the terror. I gotcha. Yes, I definitely am mid-range enjoyer. Brainstorm's a great draw. That might be one of our best because it flips this. It lets me redraw my terror this turn. Or no, it's a serpent, not a terror, which means I can't sleep the dead if I don't hit a land. Well, I couldn't keep a land and the serpent. But I don't even need to sleep the dead this turn. All right, let's brainstorm. Force Spike. I could sleep and Force Spike. The merit to that is that we know they have a Mystic, and if they have nothing else to play now, they're going to cast it. But if we hit them down to 9 and then play a Serpent and then just draw an island and they play a Mystic, I can tap their 2 creatures and I can just win the game. So let's do that instead. Yeah, no, I totally get if you are more of an aggro player that those certainly would be less of your style. Especially Gardens. I mean, that's even more just control. Definitely a grind fest there. They do get an island. Okay, they're just going to sleep. That's fair because they're going to try not to die. But if all they're doing is sleeping, they didn't flip the Delver because they drew their island. So they have a Mystic and 1 unknown. Okay, the Mystic was bad for us, but the fact that they kept it on top and then had to draw it and haven't been able to cast it is actually really good for us. Because they have to sleep every single turn here or they just die. And I have nothing else to do, so I might as well keep this tapped. Terror, and everything else is spells. Oh, wait. No, there's a third terror? No, that's second. All right, keep that tapped. If they counterspell, great. I can just sleep it again. And I know their last card is just the Mystic. So unless they draw really well here, I mean, if they draw like a Brainstorm into a Demon Inferior, get rid of the Serpent, that could be good. They flip a Mental Note. Mental Note Mystic is... I guess it doesn't do much. They have to get like a gut shot to be able to have anything relevant because we can just tap both of these down. I guess technically we should start with the bird because that could block the flyer, and also I'd rather they jump with the other one, but we get there. All right, I definitely thought we threw that game when we didn't block the terror, but lesson learned. On the draw, yeah, nice, we got there. Yeah. I'm all Loomer brain right now, though. I've been getting into CDH with some friends, and my local shop is starting Saturday proxy-friendly tournaments, so your boy doesn't have to commit any crimes for a cradle. That's great. I have played a little bit of CDH. It's pretty fun. I certainly proxied everything that I played because I cannot afford any CDH deck. But yeah, Loomer's a pretty sweet one for sure. All right, this hand is pretty decent, I think. Interaction, ways to fill the graveyard. No turn 1 Delver? All right, Brainstorm's fine. They really don't want that Brainstorm to get countered. Same but can't beat a $15 Walgreens deck. No, it's the best way to do it for sure. Piracy Charm is good. Okay, so I was going to ask, because this is the second time we're playing this mirror match in a row, that I thought about bringing it in before, especially on the draw, because it can kill a Delver, and discard is not bad, Island Walk is good, but I wasn't 100% sure. So, good to know. Would you just bring it in general, or is it specifically like good on the draw? Is this worth Force Spiking? It feels like probably. They just set up a Brainstorm, and Force Spike value's tough to get sometimes. If they just play another one, it's fine, but alright. We also have Brainstorm, Thought Scour, get a Deep Analysis in the bin. Piracy Charm has been super good lately. Yeah, I've been liking it a bit. They Thought Scour. Well, let's see what they hit. Lorien revealed, so they're at 4. I could go for a Brainstorm Thought Scour now. We're showing that we don't have anything, so they could get down a Serpent, but then I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spells in our grave, plus a Lorien, and I have a Deep Analysis. I kind of like doing this now. This might be greedy, but Deep Analysis, Lorien revealed, and then Thought Scour. I kind of like that. Next turn I could put down 2 terrors if I really want. They Mental Note, hit a Serpent and a Ponder. They do play a terror. And they play another terror. I can also double terror. I mean, that's not great for us, but we can do the same. Island, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, now I can do it with a Brainstorm first. Instead of the Lorien, then I can do that in our upkeep. All right. Oh, plus we have a Delver. Yeah, killing Delver is huge. Island Walk is nice as pseudo-artful dodge, and the discard is situation that kind of okay. Yeah, that was exactly my thought. Brought in Gut Shots when I had them in the sideboard in Fey. No great answer for the 3-2 Delver once it flips, so nice to handle it before it does, for sure. So yeah, what are we doing here? I'm playing 2 terrors. Guess I'm getting rid of 1. Lorien, Island, in case I don't want to shuffle. That would let me have a Delver flip in 2 turns. All right, what a board. I mean, I think we just trade off if they attack here, right? We have a Delver we know is going to flip. And a counterspell. I guess they could land more Serpents, but that just makes it even worse if we don't block, right? Because then we're not racing even more. Yeah, I think a little bit of lag. Please let me block. Hello. There we go. Okay, I think we're just gonna trade everything. It's a Serpent Massacre. I do have another Serpent, 2 mana. So we're drawing an island here, but then we have a Lorien revealed, so I can get a Delver flipped. But that's not great in the eyes of this Serpent. I guess I flip a Delver, then next turn I could Lorien revealed. Or I could just cycle a Lorien now, then we don't flip a Delver. We're top decking out of for nothing. I think we gotta just draw here. Oh, we also have a Deep Analysis. If I Deep Analysis now, I'm not holding up Counterspell and I'm not flipping Delver, so... But I forgot about the Deep Analysis, which could be very crucial. So do that next turn. Have some delay. Yeah, no worries. All right, we're taking a hit here. Cycle before draw, but I want to flip this Delver. Yeah. Now I could get a Lorien, or probably don't need a Lorien. I think it might not be the best, but I think gotta hold up the Counterspell though. Yeah. That's why. I know I'm not casting these anytime soon. Now I have a Deep Analysis, which I guess puts us on a 2-turn clock from this, which is not great. They have a Counterspell. I should have played this island because now if I Counterspell and they have a Force Spike, it's gonna be pretty unfortunate. But we're gonna do that. Okay, that worked. We have a Delver. Okay. They have 1 card left. I mean, I'm going to block with the Delver. Gut Shot is kind of annoying. So I don't know the top of my deck. I need to find removal for this. I can try to chump, but if they have removal of their own, it's pretty bad. So Force Spike's pretty irrelevant. Obviously, I could Lorien. That gets counterspelled. I mean, they didn't counterspell last turn. There's the Gut Shot wrong side. Yeah. I mean, I could Lorien Revealed, which gives us 3 hits, but I have to find an island and like a Demon Inferior. But if I just mental note and I find an island or whatever, then it's... Well, an island would let me cast the Lorien. If it's anything else... I guess if I find a creature, that's good. If I find an island, it's fine. And if I find any other spell... I guess if I find like a counter spell, it's kind of rough. Well, I think I'm going to mental note. Well, that's pretty good. That was pretty lucky. Let's sleep this. Okay, now we have a shot here. So I'm going to be sleeping basically every single turn. So let's just cycle a Lorien now for an island. Because also, I might want some more lands. Sleep right when you need it. Yeah, that was... better lucky than good. They have an island. It could have been what they were holding or maybe what they drew. I'm going to keep this Lorien because I don't really see a reason to use it yet. Maybe if I get a Brainstorm I want it. That's great. So let's make sure Sleep resolves by casting it first. Get rid of Island, Delver, Terror. That resolves. Let's play a Serpent. And now we have him on a 2-turn clock. I met Cycle Lorien 2 turns ago to draw 2 new cards to out Serpent. Oh yeah, I gotcha. Then I couldn't guarantee flip the Delver. No, I think there was a lot of merit to cycling there. And I did not, which is fair. Oh, Demon Fear is pretty good. I'm going to still put that second for the top. But that had to have been their draw, I think. Now I just draw whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point, I don't think. I can double sleep this even if they drew a counter spell. Island also lets us hold up Force Spike. They do have the counter spell. I will sleep it again. Terror. This leaves us with 5 spells in our graveyard. But that I can still play a Serpent and then tap and still have a Force Spike up. All right, they got to draw pretty well. Mental Note is decent, just because it could maybe find like a Sleep of the Dead of their own, but they have an island. All right, so that should be... I guess they still have 1 draw, technically. But I can Cryptic Serpent for 3 here. Oh, it's still for 2. Oh, right, because it was 5. Then I can tap, swing. Now just the Delver's lethal, not to mention the Serpent. See, who needs to play correctly or have any skill at all when you just draw the perfect card? Easy game. Definitely a close one. Yeah, I was maybe making it a little closer than needed to be. But I will say, like, mirror matches are really tough. Since I'm not the best with this deck, mirror matches usually come down to skill, like more than any other match, come down to skill and draw. And I can't have any control over my draw, and my skill is, you know, if I'm playing against people who've played the deck a lot more than me, then it's probably lower. So, yeah, but got lucky. Mirror matches are a nightmare when you're new to a deck. 100%. The worst thing ever is to be like, oh, I'm just learning this deck, and then go up against somebody else playing the deck who knows what they're doing. Okay, well, we're playing against Bosh and Roll, so this might be interesting. Bosh and Roll's a big legacy and modern creator who does play some Pauper as well. Generally a far better player than I am, but ideally my experience with the format will help, if not with this specific deck. And final boss, of course, it's Bosh. Yeah, very true. I couldn't just have an easy trophy here. This hand looks fine. Tanglepool Bridge. Alright, well, good news is he's on some nonsense, it looks like. Okay, Double Serpent, Force Spike. I could keep one of these with like a Lorien, or obviously I could mental note them away. I don't really want these. I mean, I guess if I cycle Lorien, Mental Note, Ponder, and I bin a Force Spike, I'm at 5. Yeah, I guess I can get to these pretty quickly. We counter nonsense decks. Yeah, that is true. I mean, it could be a really good deck. I just don't recognize Sultai Affinity, maybe? Refurb, okay. I can live with that. So I have a Force Spike and a Serpent on top. I probably want to draw the Serpent and then just pass. So I can Mental Note and then Lorien. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if I'm lucky, and I could double Serpent next turn, but worst case I can just do 1. Thoughtcast, okay. I've definitely done a couple Sultai Affinity lists, so I'm interested to see what the green is for. Could just be like classic Carapace Forger. Could be Brave the Wilds. Gonna take 2 here. Another Refurb, so let's Mental Note. That actually makes it so we can definitely double Serpent. Oh, and we get a Terror. We do hit an island. Cycle a Lorien. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this lets me discard the Lorien, so I can play two Serpents this turn. And a Mental Note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, just make sure. So yeah, I'm just going to double Serpent with Ward, and then we have a Mental Note. Yep, cast down, but that takes his whole turn. I wish I had the Force Spike. Dang. But better than playing the Serpent and getting it cast down. Probably going to swing here. Yep. Mental Note. We have the Sleep of the Dead. We have a second Sleep of the Dead, also Brainstorm. So I guess another Terror would be a great draw. So I can just swing, play this guy. Brainstorm, and I have a Sleep for next turn for a blocker. Man, Refurbs just really helped us. We got our Sleep of the Dead in the grave, and then it helped us get our... Oh, well, that's brutal for the Sleep of the Dead, but we already have 3 Serpents on board. Damage is kind of done. Swing with 1 Refurb. You have a talent drawing with this deck? Yeah, I certainly do, don't I? Sticky Tongue Sentinel. Enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target permanent you control, so bounce the Refurb and replay it. Okay, that's some of the nonsense happening. I'm going to Brainstorm because I can maybe get another spell in our grave. Well, we'll just put back... I almost put back 2 islands. Let's not discard the Serpent. Let's put back that. I actually can't play the Serpent this turn, so I probably should have put them in the other order. Okay, so they're going to double block and chump, probably. I love Sticky Tongue. I was playing it in Gardens as a core Skyfisher. Yeah, it's a very sweet card. It's just a little worse than a Skyfisher because no flying and it's an extra mana. All you get out of that is a power, but it being in green and stuff is pretty cool. Yeah, so I should have put it the other way because if they play another Refurb here or pick it up again, then I'm going to discard the Serpent. I'm not going to like that. But we're in a pretty good spot here. He has to find second blocker, removal spell, life gain. Blood Fountain's pretty good. Needs a land to do the other Refurb. There's the land, okay. Yeah, Refurb, take my card. Double chump. Still not the best position ever for them, but, you know, holding on there a little bit. And I'm drawing an island, which is no good. I think I'm going to play the island. Well, if they play another Refurb and I discard it and then I draw a Lorien revealed, that's going to be really bad. He's under too much pressure that he's not going to play around any counter spells. And so, yeah, I think just if I draw a Lorien, I really want to have the island on the field. All right, discards a land with the blood. He's a Sticky Tongue Sentinel, which can rebuy a Bajuka Bog, but that's not very good. Tithing Blade, okay. Tithing Blade with the Sticky Tongue Sentinel. Okay. So I need to find a removal spell. I've already lost both of my Serpents, or I just need to find another creature. Because if he chumps and then Tithing Blades this away, that's pretty bad. Deck's actually good versus Terror. Yeah, I mean, any Tithing Blade pile is going to be good versus us. Okay, Delver's a good draw. Not the best ever, but it's enough to survive, ideally, the Tithing Blade. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a color-shifted Esper affinity. Green instead of white, using Sticky Tongue instead of Skyfishers. And that's a pretty good deck versus Terror as well. They do have the Tithing Blade, so another Tithing Blade. If they had a cast down, he would have just used on the Delver and then Tithing Bladed this away. Could be another Sticky Tongue Sentinel, or like a Ghostly Flicker. Oh, that's going to be brutal with the Bajuka Bog. Yup. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's rough. A Spell Bomb. Okay, but he's top decking mostly, so am I. Lorien revealed. That's not good. Ban Bajuka. Yeah, I don't know about that, but it's a pretty good card for sure. Flip a Tithing Blade. That's annoying. It's gonna, unless I could play the Terror this turn, it's gonna give him an extra turn against the Terror. Counterspell's no good here. I mean, I still could certainly win this, but it's definitely a little rough. I'm gonna counterspell any card draw, certainly a Refurb. I mean, I want to counterspell just about anything, because then if I draw an island, I can at least play a Terror. But he also doesn't want to play anything into potential counterspells when he's at this point winning, like winning the race. Thought Scour, sure. If we get really lucky, I could play a Terror right after that if I hit 2 spells. I do hit 2 spells, but if I Terror with counter spells here, and then he just has a removal spell, that's bad. The Spell Bomb too is brutal, so if I Thought Scour... I guess if I Thought Scour, I hit 2 more spells, I can Terror and hold up a counter spell. If not, then the Spell Bomb kind of... Use Scour when he has to bomb in response. We have to risk. Yeah, that was the thought. I hit a Serpent and an Island, though, so I could play a Terror for 3, but then I can't counterspell. And he didn't bomb in response, which tells me he probably has a removal spell. Yep, pretty unlucky. I feel like if I just throw out a Terror, I probably just lose. But the fact that this gets bombed away, I have to draw pretty well to be able to replay the Terror anyway. I don't know, maybe I just cast it there, but I'm tapped out. The chances he's drawn a removal spell or another Ghostly Flicker or Sticky Tongue Sentinel or something are really high. And he's just not going to cast it into a counterspell. Counterspells are bad now. I mean, we still, like, this is a slow clock. I still have 9 turns if he doesn't do anything else, but it's getting rough. Radiant Fountain, though, now he's going to be above a 2-turn clock from the Terror. Come on, give me a Brainstorm or a Ponder or something. Oh, boy. Well, I was drawing pretty lucky, and then it stopped. Gonna cast something? Reality Acid. Okay, that's what the deck is. I guess I counter that. I'd rather not lose my lands. I'd rather put something into the graveyard. I could have just used some Force Spikes to make the Terror cheaper, actually. Maybe that would have been reasonable. Counterspell, Counterspell, Thought Scour. So this Terror's now cheap enough I can play a Counterspell. I also get a Ponder. Okay. Demon Furior could hit the Tithing. That's a bad idea because then he can replay it. Brainstorm. I would just use Spikes, not counter. Yeah, I probably should have. So here... If I keep this, I can Brainstorm, but this just, like, locks me with these bad cards. Demon Fury doesn't seem great. I kind of just want to shuffle. Mental Note. I can use that too, but I don't really need to. I'd rather just hold it up in case he gets another way to Bajuka Bog or something. Well, here's a Terror. He could just have another... He could have 2 removal spells now, which would be difficult to deal with. Teferi's Time Twister. Yep, that would flicker the Tithing Blade. Counterspell. Hope there's not another one. Yeah, any Tithing Blade pile is just made to kill Terror, so I'm not going to be surprised if I lose this one, even though it is the nonsense pile. There's a Sticky Tongue Sentinel. Bounce this. Brutal. I've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only have a Cryptic Serpent left in deck. Well, probably some Delvers too. Well, Mental Note. Hits a Lorien Revealed. This attacks, and then I don't think there's any way I can get out of this. Brutal. We're down to 2. Spell Bomb. Yeah, I mean, the deck with the Tithing Blades and the Spell Bombs main deck, I'm going to have a tough time against it. In this late game situations, we needed to keep open with both counters, but it's hard. Yeah, so I should have waited another turn for the Terror, you're saying? Felt like it was kind of tough to wait any longer, but I understand if that was the right play, potentially. All right, Steel Sabotage, obviously pretty good. Force Spike did not look great there, but he also drew a lot of lands. Sleep of the Dead. Demon Furior seems bad. Everything has an ETB, so I don't like that. Delvers are good because, I mean, this is a position where he has Flyers and Reachers, but it feels like they're necessary because of the Tithing Blades. Spikes and Deem are not good. Delver is just because of Blade. Yep. All right, Force, so you're saying take Force Spike, like Piracy Charms instead, because it can kill a Refurb. I think we had the time to wait since his clock was slow and he just needed to focus on stopping his development plus protecting your snake. But yeah, live and learn. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, my problem was that I didn't actually have 2 hard counters. I could have waited a turn and held up Counterspell plus 2 Force Spikes, but that wouldn't have actually stopped anything. Charm not very good either. Yeah, that was my thought. So, I mean, yeah, it's probably Force Spike or Charm though, right? Nothing else is doing any good. I feel like Charm could be okay on the play, and then maybe Force Spike on the draw. Hitting hand might be good enough. You're saying with Piracy Charm? I mean, if they get low on cards, yeah. But if, probably 2 spikes, but as you feel about it, yeah. If they get low on cards, Piracy Charm could be good, but it feels like the, like Thoughtcast and stuff can make that really difficult. We'll try the Piracy Charms, but yeah, I agree neither of them feel very good here whenever all of his spells cost 1 mana or whatever. We'll see if I wish these were 4 spikes. It's so typical to be 4-0, having won against mirror matches that I probably have no right winning against, and then go up against a nonsense pile from Bosh and Roll, and then get absolutely hosed. All right, we have the turn 1 Delver, which isn't great against a Tithing Blade or a Refurb or anything like that, but it could be okay. I could set it up with a Brainstorm. We have a Counterspell. Yeah, this hand's okay. I wish we had 2 Dispels. Yes, 100% I wish we had Dispels here. But alas. So if I Brainstorm and I miss on a land, it's really bad. So I think I'm just going to go blind. Oh, look, I didn't miss on a land. Well, that is annoying. But I guess I get to hold up Counterspell now, which is probably worthwhile because I can counter a Refurb or a Tithing Blade or something. And now I can set up the Delver. It's Brainstorm. Steel Sabotage. All right, that's good. Put back Ponder Lorien, and then flip. I guess we'll do Lorien. Flip the Delver. Cycle this for an island. Now we can attack and we have Counterspell, Steel Sabotage back up. It's not bad. Duress. Yeah, it's pretty annoying. Seeing as I have 2 ways to counter a Tithing Blade, I think I just let that go. But it is pretty annoying. Like, I could counterspell this, but then they Tithing, and that's pretty bad. I think you should have Steel Sabbed a land before you untapped. Yeah, I thought about that. I think if I was doing it on, like, turn 1, third game Envelop is fine because of Duress. Yeah, fair enough. I did think about bouncing a land there. It felt like if I bounced the bridge, and then they had a Vault Tithing, I could still have a counterspell here. I don't know. It's definitely tough. We're obviously a tempo deck, so bouncing lands, there's nothing wrong with that. But the value we're losing by just countering a thing fully is kind of tough sometimes. They do take the Sabotage. Why not Lorien into Brainstorm, you get an extra land and another Lorien in the graveyard. Instead of shuffling the other Lorien away. Why not Lorien into Brainstorm? There's the Tithing Blade. Why not Lorien into Brainstorm and you get an extra land and another Lorien in the graveyard? And no, I'm trying to figure out. Well, the reason I did it was because I wanted to cycle a Lorien there. I wanted to keep up Counterspell. So I'm trying to think or you're saying at the end step there I could have Brainstormed Lorien. I might have just missed it, to be honest. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Lorien, then Brainstorm. Oh, Lorien first, then Brainstorm. When I had the mana up. Then, yeah, that could have been better for sure. Ponder. So we're going to be at 5. So I can play a Terror and hold up a Mental Note, which can bin Deep Analysis. That's pretty good. But then you wouldn't know you'll get a Lorien off the Brainstorm, so I guess that's fine. Oh, yeah. Lorien and then Brainstorm, so I would still flip the Delver. Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. I probably just missed it. Swing for 3. I'm just going to cast the Terror here rather than Mental Note because I don't need to fill the graveyard up more. And if he has a Spellbomb or a Bajuka Bog, I'd rather have the Millers in hand. I recommend sacrifice Delvers and counter to protect Serpents. I know there are too many things to think about. Yeah, I did. So you're saying just let the Tithing Blade hit there? The reason I didn't want to do that is because of all of the ways he has to flicker it that we saw. I feel like countering a Tithing is really good for that reason specifically. But I get that could still have been incorrect. Ooh, he misses on a land. I'm going to Mental Note now because I don't want to draw that Deep Analysis. Okay, I did not make a mistake. We just happened to draw our second Deep Analysis, but that's fine. We're going to cast this one. Draw 2. Serpent is pretty good. And do I think there's any way that there would be like a Crypt Rats with Death Touch? I'm going to say no, and I'm going to put out another lethal attacker. Agree with the counter to prevent Flicker. Yeah, that was my thought. Yeah, stopping the blade feels more important. All right, so we got that game. Stumbled on mana a little bit. I definitely think we'll do... Obviously, Force Spike would have been good there because of the stumbling on mana. We didn't see a Piracy Charm, so it didn't matter. But I think on the play, or on the draw, excuse me, Force Spike's definitely where I want to be at. It's still not the best thing ever, but it's probably better. You said Envelop just for Duress is good enough? I guess it hits Thoughtcast as well. So that's probably, 7 or 8 spells. Yeah, I guess that's pretty reasonable. Also, it's nice to protect our other stuff. So maybe just like that. I think that seems fine. 1 Envelop is okay. Better than Force Spike here, probably. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Oof, this hand does not feel great. We have a counterspell on turn 2. Thought Scour. Sleeps bad until we get a Brainstorm. Not loving this hand. This hand is bait. Yeah, that's kind of what I was feeling. I mean, if we hit well off of Thought Scour, it's fine. We get 1 Serpent out, and then we lose when it gets counterspelled or Tithing Bladed. I mean, if we wait until we have counterspell up 2, maybe it's fine. But this hand does not feel very good. I would keep, but it's risky. Sure, let's keep it. It's on you if we lose. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's definitely a risky one. No Steel Sabotage, no Force Spike, nothing. We're on the draw. You keep anything on the draw. It can't possibly be anything bad on the draw. Well, Spellbomb's annoying, but they kept a 1-lander off of a Spellbomb. I mean, he's going to crack the Spellbomb next turn if he doesn't draw a land. So do I even bother Thought Scouring? Probably not, right? Yeah, I think I just wait. Envelop, okay. Well, I'd probably prefer Force Spike in this situation, but Envelop could still be good if he duresses. Finds the land, lucky. So now I might as well Thought Scour. Well, I could still wait. I have counter spells. I'm hitting land drops. Duress? Refurb. Okay. I mean, I don't mind discarding the sleep in general, but the fact that it gets eaten by the spell bomb's annoying. I'd probably counter that. I guess counter spells are probably... I probably should save counter spells specifically for ways to kill our serpents, right? So I probably don't care about a refurb. So I probably do Thought Scour, and if I get another Thought Scour, maybe I can force this to get popped. Because now he's going to have Thought Scour next turn. There's no specific reason he's going to need to pop the spell bomb early, I don't think. I think we'll just Thought Scour. Counter spells are for protecting Snake, yeah. So I have Mill a Terror and a counter spell. I mean, if I Mental Note again, I force the spell bomb pretty much. So I think that's reasonable. Ponder, Ponder. So that's 5, 6 with the discard. I might as well discard a Sleep of the Dead because I have a second one. Now he's kind of forced to spell bomb because I have 6 spells in a grave. And if I land a Terror with the counter spell back up, it's pretty bad. Which puts us not in an exceptional spot, but he didn't get a card draw off of that. I would just use one Miller there. Okay, good to keep in mind. What if you're very lucky and you'll just draw another one? What about that? All right, we'll hold up Envelop and Counterspell. Thought Scour at end step. Doesn't get the draw, so not terrible. Yeah, I mean, it's still not great, but yes, definitely I like forcing the bomb without drawing. If it's another refurb, I don't really care that much about that. No land and passes. Could he have a counterspell of some sort? He could have a Teferi's Time Twist to flicker this, I guess. It's fine if we draw well. Yeah. Good. I'll just do that then. Okay, Dispel. I mean, counterspells to protect snakes, but the snakes are not even coming out if I don't have this go off. But it's the only way to protect our serpent, so I think we gotta let it go. Delver's not bad. I mean, it's not great against this, but then with the Sleep of the Dead, maybe it's okay. So maybe he was gonna Thoughtcast last turn and decided to leave up the Dispel instead. Prism. Okay. Man, I wish I had some Steel Sabotages. Try to flip our Delver. We don't. It's an island. Well, I was gonna sleep the refurb, but I don't think it's worth 1 damage, especially when my graveyard is not full at the moment. So let's just pass. Cryogen. Okay, I know that the counterspell is to protect serpents. He's got cast downs, and this doesn't have ward, but at some point he's going to draw out of the bad mana. By countering this, I can get a serpent down, which if all they have is Tithing Blade, it can survive. We're very lucky that he's pinched on lands, but we've just got nothing about this game. Counterspell isn't bad here. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling. It's going to be rough if he has a cast down, because then the serpent doesn't really matter, but I kind of think I'm just going to go for it. Also, if I flip this, I can sleep this first. Another island. Well, that's annoying. Now I'm just drawing terribly. Well, here's a serpent, and then I guess next turn I can sleep, start hitting for 7, maybe 9 if I'm lucky. Envelop for a Thoughtcast. Tithing Blade, okay. Yep. So I guess if he just has a way to flicker the Tithing Blade and I don't have a counterspell, it's going to be rough. I mean, Lorien Revealed's not a bad draw here. See what's up. 1, 2, 3 spells in our grave. I don't need to sleep this. I can't play a Serpent. I only have an Envelop, so I might as well Brainstorm. And if we get like a Steel Sabotage, it'd be good. Okay, well, put back the Sleep and Island for this Thoughtcast. All right, well, I don't have a way to protect this Serpent. I can get another one down and Lorien, though. Yup, that's going to work. Better Spellbomb their turn in case they Bajuka. Brainstorm. Gotcha, yeah. Yes, good point. Yeah, you're right. There was no reason probably to do it there because I was looking for all instants anyway. We hit a Terror. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spells. Okay. And a Serpent? Okay, well now we can just... I was going to Lorien, but we can just throw out all 3 of these, and there's no way you can kill them all. So those are some pretty good draws. I just feel like you're not considering that I'm drawing like a god, okay? Like, I don't need to play perfectly. Might get wrecked by Ghostly Flicker. That would be pretty good, actually. You're right. If it goes land, Ghostly Flicker gets 2 of our guys. I mean, we don't have really another play anyway. I could have Lorien Revealed it to try to find a counterspell first. I think this is probably just the play to do it, though. If he kills 2 of them, I still have 1, which is pretty good. I then Lorien and hopefully can counterspell to protect it. There's a Twister to kill 1 of them. Probably have it, but no land. Yeah, that's true. All right, so we'll lose Serpent. I tap this with the Sleep of the Dead. Okay, well, if I tap it, then both of these are lethal next turn. I could Lorien Revealed, and if I hit a land, I can still tap it. It feels like such a waste to not Lorien here. Draws better, I think. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Flicker still leaves him with a Terror, luckily. Yeah, poor Bosh has to find his 3rd land. Yeah, I'm going to draw. If I draw the land, I can still tap. If I draw a counterspell, I can hold that up. If I draw a Steel Sabotage, I can bounce this, put him to 3, play a Delver, and then with Brainstorm I have 3 lethal attackers. That seems pretty good. We don't need to tap. Yeah, it was just definitely didn't need to tap. I just kind of wanted to make it so that my guys were lethal next turn. But you're right, it wasn't necessary by any means. And now even with a Ghostly Flicker with Brainstorm, I'll flip the Delver and I'll have 3 lethal attackers. Finally gets his land. There's the Ghostly Flicker. Oh, I guess I was saying like, oh, if the Delver dies, but like obviously we'll just keep the Delver around or sack the Delver, so I don't even need to Brainstorm. All right, Sabo may be better in response to Flicker. Yeah, I definitely didn't need to bounce the Refurb. I didn't need to, but especially with the Delver, I thought it was really like there was no possible way I could think of that he could remove 3 attackers that I knew could be at least 3 power. So I felt like that was the best way to do it. But all right, well, got a trophy with Terror. Feels pretty good. Thanks for all the help, chat, especially Illuminati and Jace. To be honest, I'm mean and would have bounced his tap land in upkeep. I mean, there was a brief moment where I thought about bouncing his tap land, but I really didn't want to throw the trophy there. So I figured probably best to just play it safe. No need to flex, and so that's okay. Whew, all right, well, that felt great. We're definitely going to go for another league. Are there any changes we want to make? Is there anything? I was saying this at the beginning of the stream. I'm not generally a big Force Spike fan, but honestly, it feels pretty good in the meta right now. We definitely had some matches where it's not great, or games where it wasn't great. How has Force Spike been feeling? Yeah, so Dispel is really good, so it's hard to not want a Dispel or 2 in the deck. But honestly, I've just been getting a lot of really good Force Spike value recently. I mean, I was playing it yesterday and I got I got a Chrysalis that I countered with it. We got this earlier on stream, countering a Cryptic Serpent, which was pretty sweet. The Force Spikes have honestly been pretty good, I think, especially on the draw. Just like when you're on the play draw is, I feel like, so enormous for this deck, because not only can you turn 1 a Delver on the play, which is great, you can also have Counterspell up on turn 2. Whereas if you're on the draw, a Delver on turn 2 is usually dead pretty quickly. A Force Spike can at least catch their 2-drop. I'm playing with Force Spikes, no Delver. I know you've been trying some crazy stuff. I saw you were playing a couple Murmuring Mystics in the main deck yesterday or something, but no Delver. That might be too high level for me. I mean, I guess you were talking about how you sided out for a lot of matches. So I guess there's some merit to that. I mean, what are you playing right now? Like a couple Mystics in place of the Delvers, and what else? Or are you doing something else at the moment? Double 5-0, double 4-1 in a row. Feels good, but still testing. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I'm kind of liking this here so far. I think maybe we'll just run it back with the same list. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna play another one. Since I put these up on YouTube, I'm going to wrap up the YouTube video by simply saying thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.